You just, and it gets hard because I tell a story, you respond, you tell a story, I respond. That's
Right.
the natural course of things. In the market, it's the same natural course of things. You tell a story, a customer responds. So it's definitely it can be definitely tough if they don't want to tell their story.
It's fun. We had a guest on the show a couple of weeks back, Andrew Wood. And
Mm,
Andrew has a fantastic backstory. So he grew up with dyslexia, potentially ADHD, we're not sure. Like dyslexia was the
mhm.
only thing that was diagnosed for him. So he hangs his hat on that. And it wasn't diagnosed until he was in his mid-teens, by which point he was already in trouble. He ended up in the prison system, made a conscious choice to get out of that, and now runs a £10 million
Wow.
a year business and growing rapidly, right? So a
Wow.
complete transformation, a brilliant story. And we recorded his story twice because we had a tech failure the first time. We lost the first episode. But I remember recording it with him a few weeks before, and he was really anxious. And halfway through, he's telling me, like, like, I don't do marketing. I'm not a marketing person. I just kind of came on to help share my story at X, Y, and Z. And then we re-recorded, and he'd had time to think about some of the things that I'd said to him about, what, I think that's a really powerful story and you should share it and work on it. And he came back on the show as a completely different person. And the episode that you'll
Oh,
see
wow.
released into the public was so much more, uh, um, it flowed so much nicer. You could see there was passion
Wow.
behind what he was saying. He wasn't deflecting and making himself sound as though he didn't know what he was doing, because he absolutely does know
Right.
what he's doing. It's just not a conscious choice. But the
Yeah.
story's in there. The story was there, and he knew that the story had real power for his business. But he's also conscious. He doesn't want to come across as um, using that story for revenue, right? Like it's not,
Right.
and that's not what he's about. He's about, I want to impact young people who might end up in that same situation. It's a powerful story. It's not why you should buy from me, but it does help you remember me, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
I
can't
think
even
that's
imagine. I
fair,
don't
right?
know. I don't know, Andrew, but I would say that I would hazard a guess that the past still, punches him in the face every day. In other words, I would imagine that even with his success now and growing success, that he still feels like the guy who went to prison. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? He still feels like that young thug or whatever, or whatever the term is. We all have that, right? And that in that initial round with you, that came up and that blocked him and that made him insecure and
Yeah.
nervous. And then maybe because of the initial round, he felt comfortable, had some stories with you and felt, okay, I can talk to this person. He's
Yes.
like-minded and I can connect. And that opened up on the second round. I don't know, but I would
Yeah.
imagine it's got to be tough. It's got to be tough for people who are highly successful that came from nothing, because they must always have the nothing creeping up in their ear,
It's
telling them
imposter
that they don't know
syndrome,
what they're
right?
doing. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah. I mean,
always
I think
sat
we all
there.
go through that to some degree. You know.
Yeah.